Welcome to Goldboys Live, presented by Pickett Sports Sleeper Picks, breaking down, well, no more NBA season, but we'll recap last night's game. We'll get to some NHL with GriffyBets. Josh, Brian, Brad. Brian, I guess I'll give you the floor first. Takeaways from last night's game is Denver holds up the trophy. They win, they don't cover, but Denver is our new champion.
I'll say this. We kind of all talked about how we all were. I mean, I feel like the whole world kind of figured Denver in 5 after the first 4 games and the season would end yesterday. But I give Miami credit. I mean, would we be having a game 6 right now if Jimmy Butler didn't miss every single shot? Because that team stayed in it. I mean, I was surprised they stayed in it and they were that close, considering the fact that Jimmy Butler just looked like he was already in Cancun.
I thought you would have so much more to say about that. You're just mad at Jimmy
No,
Butler.
that's I'm trying to
mad at Jimmy Butler. I mean, I think Will and I kept telling everyone, like, if you're gonna bet Jimmy Butler, like, go under because we haven't seen anything from him in a while. And like the shooting, he made the shots that are Jimmy Butler shots, which is like, I don't have a choice. I'm just shooting this out of like guts and will. And those went in at the end, and that was kind of it. But like, yeah, I think it's a little simple to say if Jimmy Butler makes shots that then they win. But it's not like it's a major part of it for sure. And I think that's pretty much it. If you need to rely on superhuman efforts from one player, you're not beating the Nuggets in a 7-game series. And the fact that they won one game is a credit to who they are and how they play. But that was the only amount of games I could have ever seen them winning in this series.
Yeah, no, I'm kind of upset that I didn't take them to win in 5. Like we all said it, like Miami's going to win one game. And then did anybody bet them?
I took them to win in 5. I took them -1.5.
Josh has like 62 tickets.
-2.5 in the series, and I hit
Joker
in 5 in the MVP. I hit that pretty hard, so it was a pretty nice.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
I had to cash my ticket with them -1.5 in Manchester City, and the City one was the only one that was sweaty. Like I like, you always wish that you went a little more aggressive, but I'm glad to get money in my pocket.
Yeah. I'll say my closing thought to respond to Josh there, as someone that did take 25 plus for Butler. I guess my thinking is I didn't need him to look good, but man, if he doesn't brick those 2 free throws and he shoots 6 for 18 or 5 for 18, I get my 25. So I was kind of just going off the volume.
You're betting on the volume, yeah.
Yeah. So
You're not wrong.
I will say, if it makes it feel better, I gave up on it, Josh, in the first 4 minutes because he started over 3 and then he got fouled. And I'm like, all right, let's get him going. And then he clanked both free throws off the back iron. And I was like, all right, maybe this guy is just not like there. I was like, holy hell.
I think he was exhausted. I think, look, Denver was going to win the series no matter what, but Miami probably lost any chance of being more competitive in the series or even winning it when they had to go 7 games against Boston. I think just having 2 games off between the finals and the conference finals, like if they had 5-6 days off to rest, recover, Butler could look like Butler again. I don't know. I just think they were out of gas, and that probably was their undoing. So this probably should have been a sweep. I mean, Denver let game 2 get away. That was mostly Denver. That was just one they gacked. Miami, I guess, had a chance. I think Miami, any chance Miami had was game 4. Jokic is on the bench. They cut it to like 5. Jokic is in foul trouble. Like that was the game to steal. And then, hey, best of 3, anything can happen. But this was Denver. Denver was the best team, and Denver holds up the trophy. Should we get to the odds for next year? You guys have any?
Real quick, one other thing I hit repeatedly in this game. I hit the under at 212, and then I hit it at 201, 194, and 184.5.
Nice.
So I just before we went into that game yesterday, I was just saying, like, this feels like game 7 for some reason because Denver hasn't won a series. Like I was at game 7 Cavs Warriors when Iggy got blocked.
It felt a lot like that.
And it felt like that. And I was saying that before the game. I was like, there was like 6 minutes in that fourth quarter in 2016 where nobody scored before that layup, which we all forget. It was like there was no scoring. And that's what I was expecting in this game. You come right out in the fourth quarter. I was like, God, they are tight. And Denver's not going to just all of a sudden start raining threes. Like it was that kind of wild experience for Denver. And that's why,
And that game 7 Warriors Cavs was 93-89. The game last night was 94-89.
94-89.
Yep. I guess before we go, my last closing thought would be, we kind of mentioned yesterday how Jimmy Butler is, he has these few performances, but he doesn't really get a lot of the heat some people do, like in terms of the playoffs. Or I see a lot of people like Bleacher Report, like, oh, Jimmy gave it all his had, this and that. I meant to find the clip and send in the group chat. I didn't. I'm going to find it. But there was a play, Josh, where he was driving to the basket in the fourth quarter when they needed a bucket. And I know he was shooting so terribly, but he got past the defense and he had the layup and he passed out to, I believe it was Martin. And it looked like I forget who he passed out to, but it looked like they were shocked that ball came back out. You know what I mean? Like it was a thing where it's like, dude, if you're shooting terribly, it doesn't matter if you're going to be the star of this team. Like he had the drive, he had the first move, and he was at the rim. And sure, Jokic was coming off backside help, but there's like a 9 out of 10 chance you could finish at that rim there. And he just last second threw it back. And the whole team kind of looked like, what the hell? Like it was just,
what are we doing here?
Yeah, it's
just channel his inner Michael Porter Jr. a little bit more and just never get shook.
Yeah, that was the play where I was like, wow, like because it looked like I could have gotten the 25 points, and then that happened, and I was like, wow, he is just not, like not confident, not looking like so. Yeah, it was just crazy that even after that performance, it looked like a lot of people were still.
And the last thing too is he was getting slammed for that last three by a few media members being like,
what was that?
That was a bad shot.
Yeah.
It was a bad shot. They let everything go too. I mean, that first of all, the call on Butler, the 3-shot foul was ridiculous.
But I thought it should have been a 10-shot foul.
It was basically a football game. They weren't calling anything. Like
the only person they call fouls on was Nikola Jokic. Meanwhile, Bam Adebayo and Kyle Lowry, he's literally holding them on two arms as he's like trying to score. Like the extending the series was some part of somebody's game plan, dude, because that was brutally unequal.
Yeah, that was bad.
Miami's whole approach is we're just going to foul them every play and we're just going to dare you to call all of them because you can't call all of them. I mean, it was just ridiculous. And Miami's tough with the refs too because Lowry's just constantly like he's always been trying to game the officials, but that's all his game now is. And he played well. He hit some shots, but he's just always flailing and trying to trick the refs. It's almost like it's not even basketball. But I just thought that was very physical, and the refs just didn't know what to call. It got out of control.
Yeah.
Odds for next year. Denver is the short shot plus 475. Celtics plus 550. Bucks plus 650. Suns plus 850. Lakers 12-1. Warriors 12-1. Sixers 13-1. Mavs 14-1. Clippers 17-1. Heat 20-1. Grizzlies 22-1. Cavs 25-1. Pelicans 35-1. Knicks 45-1. Hawks 50, Kings 50, T-Wolves 60, Raptors 70, Nets 90, OKC 100. I guess we'll stop there unless you guys have any other interest in asking about somebody else. Anything jump out to any? What's the best bet there?
You didn't read 160-1 for Wembanyama in the Spurs.
Yeah. So Will, who's your bet and why is it the Clippers? That's my question.
I like Denver. Plus 475. I think. Now, look, there's a practical aspect of, hey, you got to bet this now. And even if it wins, it's 12 months to just sit in your account. But there is like, if you bet this now, you're going to look up next May and be like, oh, I got Denver plus 475. And you're going to be happy you bet it. Almost like betting the Chiefs every year where you just look around. I don't know that they're going to win the finals. A lot can happen, trade, injuries, but their whole core is going to be back. They're young. And you just look around the West.
Maybe not Bruce Brown.
Yeah, that's like the only person.
Maybe not Bruce Brown. Absolutely.
That's crazy.
I do know some people too were.
Yeah.
I know you guys had a lot of handle on Denver. I know some people that if they win a future for a team, they'll roll some of it back just to run it back again, almost out of principle. So I do know people that do have that theory in mind.
Which I usually don't think teams are going to repeat. There's a championship hangover. You get a little complacent. And I would not necessarily bet their season win total over because I don't know that they're going to have this desire to win like 65 games after they win a title. But you just look around
this year. Yeah.
Exactly. Who's going to beat them in the West, though? I mean, the Clippers, or we're done believing in them, I would think. The Grizzlies, you believe in them. Lakers with AD and LeBron a year older. I mean,
they only have like 6 people on their roster too.
Right. I guess Phoenix, could they fill out the roster? But that's really like a 2-man team. The Warriors, it seems like that window's closed. I mean, you guys tell me who's beating them in the West. Like, I don't know if they're going to win the finals, but I think they're going to be back in the finals.
210 to win the West. Is that a better bet for them?
I would.
It might be. It might be. That's a good bet.
I would say the only thing. Not to cut you off, Brad, sorry, but I was going to say that you mentioned the Suns. That would be the only team I would think could have a chance they can round it out. And that like you asked us each to find a team. They're like, I think they're 850 to 1, plus 850 on draft. That's the only team I could even see because I do think without Chris Paul, like, if they can save some money elsewhere, new coaching. That's the only team that I think can like form a roster that might be worth betting now because I think their offseason could really help them out. But I don't know. Yeah. It's still hard to kind of back anybody else in the West.
And now losing in 6 to Denver, which they did, and they were tied 2-2. I mean, I guess they played them as close as anybody. The Lakers games were closest, but they did sweep the Lakers. But yeah, losing, being 2-2 and losing to, that it was a bad look at the time, but now that you lost in 6 to Denver, it looks a little better, a month or two later. What else do you guys think in terms of like a number that jumps out to you if you had to bet something here?
The Phoenix. Oh, go ahead, Brad.
No, I think a number that jumps out to me. It's not going to win, but as long as I can get close to getting to the dance, I actually like the Kings number at 45-1. I would have probably put them closer to like 30, 35.
Yeah.
It's a good Kings team. And then what's cool with the Kings this year is they can actually make moves to get better. A lot of like without having to mortgage too much of their future or go after and chase a championship. And then we think about which players on their team can take that next step. Like Fox could play at an MVP caliber level. We don't know if Keegan Murray, I don't think he's going to be, but he has that year 2 ability to make that second year leap. I just think the price is crazy. Like the Pelicans, you think about the Pelicans, they're relying on Zion Williamson, right? Maybe they get a good player out of their draft pick. The Clippers, we already wrote on them, but there's no way they stay healthy enough. Cleveland needs to get some outside shooting, catch and shoot players where it's just not Donovan Mitchell who has to be in the clutch, just driving to the hole the entire time. I like Denver. I think I've bet Denver every year for the past like 5 years.
Has that been profitable?
It feels weird.
No,
it feels weird now, though. It feels weird now, though, because it was like 35, 25, 20, 21. Now it's 4.5. Like that's like it feels weird betting them, but they are the best team. They're getting everyone back. I think Bruce Brown will sign a team-friendly deal. Like I just think Bruce Brown's the kind of guy where he likes to be able to be accepted. And I don't think he really cares about this massive, massive role. And one thing I want to say about Bruce Brown is totally not related, but every time I watch him, I just can't believe how good of an athlete he is. Like that dude's got like absolute bunnies and he jumps out of the gym, but it doesn't even look like it.
Yeah, he's filthy. Yeah. Sticking in the West first for 1 sec, because like I think what happens with Phoenix, first of all, is like super important, right? Is Chris Paul staying? And it doesn't sound like he is because Chris Haynes is the one reporting that he's not. And I kind of trust Chris Haynes more than anybody when it comes to talking to players and not being owned by an agency or a side of any kind. Like he's the guy, like he was the one that said, I forget, he had something early and was like, this dude's out. He's in this other place. And people were like, no, it's not official yet. You can't report it. And he was like, but I'm just talking to the people making the deal. So I know what I'm talking about. That's what I feel like with Chris Paul. What happens after that? Where does he go? Because that's so crucial to all this. And then the other team in the West is the Blazers with like, is Dame staying or is something else going to happen? Not that I would pick the Blazers in any way, even if someone comes to play with Dame necessarily. But if Dame goes somewhere else, that impacts things hugely. So those are the types of moves too that I'm kind of like, this is the NBA. It's a soap opera for us on top of a great product. Like, so that's why we come for this offseason stuff here. And when you get ahead of, well, someone might move, something might change. Like last year, I was like, I'm not touching the Nets with a 10-foot pole because I don't know if Kyrie Irving is going to decide tomorrow that he wants to play on planet Mars, right? And so that's the same concept here of
what's Mars's odds?
But no, like for the Suns, like do you like them better with or without Chris Paul? If they let him go and still pay him $15 million, can they get better players in with the money? Like is HBS just going to pay that luxury tax out his butt? Hopefully,
I almost feel the 850 is better if Chris Paul doesn't come back because I think the Suns actually I think they have a good core. Like I know Kevin Durant's, but like they actually do have some good young players. I mean, Devin Booker is so young. They have the pieces there. And like, you remember that finals run too.
You named Devin Booker, then you stop naming people. Who else?
Well, I can't speak about DeAndre Ayton because then I'll get shit on because everyone knows that he's kind of.
You don't know what you're getting from him.
Crazy.
There's my DeAndre Ayton signed poster in the back. I can't talk too much about him, but I just think that if you remember that finals run they had too, where Chris Paul got hurt and then like last season he got hurt again in the run. It's almost like
I know.
It's kind of like. I think he slows them down.
But you need a rotation. You need 6-7 guys like Durant and Booker. That's great. Like those guys are awesome. But it was basically like 2-on-5 and 8.
I just think if they could find a cheaper like point guard or like you mentioned like guys that could be available. I don't think Bruce Brown would go there either. But I just think there's so many people that will be available that if they can form somewhat of a roster. Like what they'll save with Chris Paul, they could be a decent shot. Like almost
Harden makes sense there.
I don't think so. I think that would cripple their depth. If I were to play GM for the Phoenix Suns, this is just like Dream World GM because this stuff's never going to happen. But I would get rid of Chris Paul. I would probably try to shop Ayton around, bring on a guy like a Lopez or a Christian Wood. That's assuming that Christian Wood's not going to want more money than he's already making. So let's say he's around what 10 mil. Like, and then you go and you get like one of these point guards. I don't know one off the top of my head, but like you don't need someone great. You need someone who can just facilitate, someone you could take a chance on. I don't know like who you getting in the free agent market.
It's a weak free agency class for sure.
That's the problem. That's the problem. And you need a few guys here, and you need Durant to stay healthy. Which look, he hasn't stayed healthy in forever. He's hurt. He's back. He's hurt again. I don't know. So I would need more on the Suns. I wouldn't be. Yeah, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, like, we saw it too, like when they had the core of like when they had Kevin Durant post trade, Booker and Ayton. There was a week or two where Chris Paul missed a few games, and like Cam Payne, who's just horrible to watch. Like even he was running the offense in like a decent way where they were putting up a lot of points. So not saying Cam Payne's the answer. I'm just saying if you get Chris Paul, he's out of there, and you can find someone that can work that offense and like tighten up with some of the rotation guys, maybe.
None of us have named that person.
How about this though? Here are the top 8 unrestricted free agent point guards: Kyrie Irving, Fred VanVleet, D'Angelo Russell, Patrick Beverley, Russell Westbrook, Dennis Schroeder, Gabe Vincent, Javon Carter. Like that is slim.
VanVleet would be the one that could be.
He's in a command 30 mil.
Yeah, he's gonna ask for so much money here. Just turn down his offer.
And the problem is, if you put somebody like that on the Suns right now, they already have 3 backup tiny point guards that can't play defense.
Yeah.
So like what you need is like a tall, you need wings, you need all the guys they traded.
They definitely need
yes. The more you're talking about it, the less I'm in on the Suns.
I hate it. Yeah.
Even if you slightly upgrade over Paul and you get a younger, healthier version. All right, Paul was still like a useful player. You still need other pieces. You still need shooters. You still need wings. You still need depth. Like you got to play an 82-game season.
Dillon Brooks, yeah. I mean MVP.
I don't think Dillon Brooks is a bad fit for them. He's a good defender.
It's a great call.
But I just think that Dillon Brooks wants to be the man, and he's not going to be able to go to that team and be the man.
No, I'm sure he's humbled a little bit by this. I would think,
and I would hope, but it doesn't. The problem is, it doesn't sound like he is. It's like he sounded like the dude who got broken up by a girl and was like, "Yeah, I dumped her ass." I was like, "No, she broke up with your son." And that's kind of like what he was like with the Grizz. And then now moving forward, the only place he would be able to be humbled is a place like Phoenix. And I would say, as far as
Vogel there too.
If Chris Paul can stay healthy for 22, 23 minutes a game in the playoffs, that would be a much better situation for him than being relied upon to carry a team like he has in the past. I would rather have Chris Paul on the floor alongside those two guys taking a shot from 15 feet out in the fourth quarter of a game that matters than most other people at this point with his experience and his ego. So like, I think, what they need is to just find the correct role players, and they're not going to be able to pay for guys like if Draymond is available or if someone like Jeremy Grant is available. I don't think they can get guys like someone like Harrison Barnes would be an amazing fit, but he might be too much money at this point.
I don't think Harrison Barnes is going to go too much down on this price, because I think if Harrison Barnes wants to re-sign and take a pay cut, he would. I mean, if he wanted to take a pay cut, he would re-sign with the Kings. That's what's so crazy about a lot of these free agents like that are out there now.
Yeah, last thing I'll say is if they want to get anybody worth bringing in that they could actually pay, they are going to have to get rid of DeAndre Ayton, to be honest, at this point. So they can't have those 3 contracts and take on another $20 million. There's no money for that. So
Vogel's had a history of doing well with big, so maybe he thinks he can get through to him. I don't think that's impossible either. But I think, just to summarize here, I don't know that there's a great bet. Like, I think Denver is a good bet, and for some of the people that theoretically can bet on credit, you just put that in your account, and you know what, you got basically 5-1 on the best team. I don't think that's bad, but if you're looking for like an 80-1, 90-1, 100-1, a team that's going to get Lillard that can win it, I don't really see.
I'm throwing one out there, and the last one I'll say, because I know we're sticking to the Western Conference. Maybe we talk about East another time, but like OKC is 130-1.
They're a couple years. They're still a couple years away. I thought of that too.
What if they add somebody? Is the thing. Like, what if they do get Chris Middleton or something like that? Like, is that enough? They get homeboy back. Holmgren,
not terrible, actually. Could they be a 3 or 4 seed with Shea, and they consolidate their picks and they make a trade? That's not terrible.
And what we're talking about here, nobody else really tickles our fancy, and they're 130-1.
Yeah, I'm gonna say too. And the NBA is one of those things where at this point at 2023, talking to NBA, I'm never blown away, because you always say like, oh, they can't do this or they can't add this guy, and then all of a sudden it's like, okay, how do they work the books that way? Like, so there's always so many things that weirdly happen. Yeah.
The Rams in the NFL were famous for that. Like, oh, they're capped out, and then they add like
my Eagles with Howie Roseman too. It's the same way, where it's just like, how did they get this guy?
Right. Totally. All right, boys. Appreciate it. We'll be back. You guys are back tomorrow?
Yes.
Brad, Brian, Josh, appreciate it. Let's talk a little hockey now.
Sure. Get it.
We'll do look, this could be it. The trophy is in the building. GriffyBets. Griffy. 3-1. I think you called it pretty well. When it was 2-0, I think that was the last time we spoke. You said, I think probably Florida gets this one. Vegas gets a split in game 4, and we head to Vegas 3-1 Vegas. That's where we're at. Where you're at here, game 5, as we get ready here for maybe the final game of the season.
Yeah, what up, Will? Yeah, I think it's over. I think Vegas is taking it. I mean, they dominated those 2 games at home. Kachuk's pretty banged up. I have to imagine he's going to get out there, but he didn't practice yesterday, did not skate this morning, didn't play a ton at the end of game 4. I think it's over. Honestly, I could see Vegas winning like 6-1 and like not even giving us that entertaining or nail-biting finish. That's my read of the situation. I could be way off. I mean, Florida was down 3-1 to those Bruins in round 1. They won 4-3 in OT that game in Boston, and then obviously came back and won the series. But I haven't seen enough to feel good about Florida here. They did only give up 1 power play last game, so that's an improvement if they could stay out of the box. But I don't know. I think this is the end of the NHL year for us tonight.
Is the dollar set -175? Is that enough for you? Is that short enough for you to lay? Would you lay the goal and a half here and take the plus money, get like plus 145 on -1.5? Would you split your bets? Where you at here in terms of how to bet Vegas, or you just prefer play it on the props?
I'd be interested. I know DraftKings has a same game parlay boost tonight. I feel like something Vegas money line over 4.5 in the game, Vegas over 2.5. I wonder what that price would come in. To be honest, I was looking at maybe sprinkling on Vegas to score 4 or 5 goals, but I would say 4.5 is pretty safe total. That's hitting every game. And I mean, the 2 in Vegas, game 1 was 7 goals. Game 2 was 9, with Vegas scoring 5 and 7 in those 2. I could see another offensive explosion like that. I feel like, I don't know, these non-game 7 elimination games historically have been pretty high scoring and a little looser. That's certainly what I'm banking on, the loose aspect with some shots on both sides. I mean, Vegas wants to put this away at home in front of their crowd, and Florida wants to stay alive. So I'm just hoping for some nice offensive fireworks, and I sure would love to hit a ton of props.
The one I am going to bet, I already did bet. It's been bet. I've been betting it every game. I don't know why it's so cheap. -140. Will there be a goal in the first 10 minutes? We got a quick one the other night. We've had it all 4 games. A couple of them got close. There was a shorthanded goal in game 1. But look, if you like a lot of offense, it's a fun bet to root for, if nothing else. But it seems to be hitting a lot, not only in this series, which obviously is a small sample size, but along these playoffs. You tend to get a quick one early, whether it's they call more penalties, you get more power plays early as opposed to later in a tight game. They're more prone to swallow the whistle, whatever it is. There seems to be early scoring. Is that something? I know you don't bet these a lot, but is that something where you could see an early one here?
Yeah, why not? Or any of the books. I know sometimes they give out boost promos for those. I haven't really scoured, but
I don't
before
look,
you place that.
There's such small limits that I don't like. If I'm going to bet it, I'm going to bet it. So I don't look for that, but I know what you mean.
Yeah, I mean, I'm all for it. Again, yeah, I think it's going to be loose with both teams pretty motivated to make something happen. So why not? And yeah, you're right. It is just fun. Worst case, you know where you stand
right
immediately 10 minutes in. And there has been, this is the second year in a row FanDuel has introduced something new to the market. Last year, it was the alternate shots that are so common now, like the same game parlay shots was pretty revolutionary when they brought that in last playoffs. This year, it has been live props, like a player to have 1 shot on goal in a period. And there's been some really nice value there. You see how the first period goes. They open up that second period market. So I don't hate going light on props up front, doing something, like the goal in first 10, whether you win or you lose, just keep some bankroll stowed away for some of those live bets. Because I think they're not processing certain things like what a player did that first period, or sometimes there's a power play to start the next period and you get a guy that shoots on the power play at like plus money to just get 1 shot in an entire period. So if you haven't checked that out and you're watching the game, definitely poke around there. We've been having some fun with that in Goldboys in the NHL chat.
Vegas wins tonight and Marchie does not win the Conn Smythe. Is that a reasonable possibility?
It would definitely be a bummer. I feel like if you are going to hedge it, I think it's got to be with Eichel. I mean, he hasn't scored in forever, but he just has one less point than Marchessault in this whole postseason, which, again, this award is postseason, not just what happens in this finals. If Eichel somehow had a monster game here, a hat trick or game-winning goal, and Marchessault's quiet, I guess. But they are on the same line, so I'm hoping even if Eichel is scoring, Marchessault's assistant. And I think, Marchessault just has the better resume with the goals too. I think he's going to score again tonight to just put the bow on this thing. But I know I've seen some people talking about Adin Hill, the Vegas goalie. I still don't see that resume being enough to win this. I mean, he didn't play the first round. He's been fine. He's definitely, he hasn't let up more than 3 goals, and he's let up 2 in all 3 of their wins. But it's not like Florida's been shooting 40 times a game, and his save percentage is through the roof. So I really don't see it being him. If anyone, it's Eichel. That would be the only hedge that I'll consider, but I think that's just, I got to let it ride again.
20-1 at Bet Rivers for Eichel to win this award. If you had nothing in pocket, is 20-1 worth a shot. It's 12-1 at DraftKings, and Marchie's minus 400 at DraftKings, minus 670 at Bet Rivers. So of course, shop around and get the best number. But that's interesting. 20-1 versus 12-1.
I feel like I would rather. I'm not sure what the odds are. I'd rather just bet Eichel to score 2 goals because that's what it would take, at least for him to win this.
Then you do have to worry, though. Just thinking out loud, you do have to worry. Oh, what if you bet that, and then Florida wins tonight, then you lose the Eichel bet, and then you're starting to hemorrhage money. But I know what you mean. That might be a decent hedge.
Yeah, I think I'm just gonna let it ride. I sure would love that. Would really be a great end to the hockey year if we can win that. I think he's got it. He's minus 500 right now. He scored 3 goals in those 2 games at home. And I was looking back on, because Vegas had 2 closeout opportunities last round against Dallas. So I was trying to see who stepped up in those games. And attempts wise, it was Marchessault, Eichel, and Stone shooting, and Marchessault's the only one to score of that trio in those 2 games. So everything was looking up Marchessault when I was taking some notes yesterday. So I think he's going to score tonight. He's going to get that award. We're going to cash that ticket. And someone's going to have to cut up that clip because it's just a toss-away thing we discussed a couple weeks ago. It would be awesome.
Most people would give you the credit for giving that out, but I would give myself the credit for asking the question. That's just my opinion. Eichel plus 650 to score 2 goals here, at least at Bet Rivers. Of course, shop around. Marchessault plus 525 to score 2 goals just for the hell of it. Kachuk plus 650. Stone 10-1. Barkov 14-1. Anything for goal scorers before we get out of here? First goal scorer, multiple goals. Anything else you like?
Me and Ao in Goldboys been running Brandon Montour goal. Guy was pretty streaky. End of round 1 into round 2, he scored, I think, 4 straight games or 5 of 6 or something. He's a defenseman on Florida. I'd mentioned him a couple games ago. New dad alert. He scored in 2 straight. He's plus 450 to score in a third, and he's been shooting like crazy for Florida. And especially in a game like this, I expected defensemen to be shooting a little bit more just to make something happen up front. And I don't know if you saw his goal in Game 4, the little tic-tac-toe. It hit off 2 Vegas guys right into the net. It was a mesmerizing goal. But it's stuff like that makes defenseman goals pretty fun. So he's plus 450. He's actually on the road. He's got at least 3 shots on goal, and I think 8 straight. The guy rips on the road. So definitely him. But I focus pretty much on shots on goal props. But be happy to discuss a couple because I do think there's some nice value out there.
Yeah, whatever you got. Empty the bag here.
All right. Chandler Stevenson quickly become my new best friend. He has the last 3 games, 4 shots on goal, 4 shots on goal, 3 shots on goal. His line is 1.5, and it's minus 130, which is pretty solid. But his 3+ shots is offered at, I think it's plus 215 on FanDuel for him to have 3 again. But that's only regulation. If you want to go to MGM, it's plus 200, which is still a great price for 3 shots, which he's done in 3 straight. So I bet both of those. I did a unit on the 1.5 and a half unit on the 3, but he's another guy that has had some really juicy odds. Like, keep your eye on him just to get 1 first period shot. I bet it's plus money tonight. And he had 2 goals last game. So I think he's going to be coming in pretty confident and ripping again. That is one. And Anton Lundell, I kind of going into some of these secondary guys, but Lundell on Florida, 3rd line center. He has 3 shots in 3 of 4 games this series. And in those 2 in Vegas, he had 4 and 3. He's about plus 205 right now on FanDuel for 3. So that's another I moved up to an alternate line. Because, again, he had 7 shots on goal in those 2 in Vegas. He's fresh off a 8-attempt game, which is his highest, I think, of the entire postseason. It is. And he's been much steadier on the road as well. So that was some nice value. But I went pretty all in. I don't know I think I shared a parlay slip here before we went on. I'm not sure if that can get on the screen or not. But if it is on the screen, I've sort of I've touched about 7-8 guys tonight for shots. They all look good. I did a lot of half units on straights. They're all plus money, but also took a shot on, a $10 to win. I don't know what it was, 5,800, something safe and secure like that. Just let it rip. I mean, I think the shots on goal were a little more plentiful in Vegas, especially that first game. There were 70 shots on goal between these 2 teams. So I'm just hoping everybody lets it rip tonight. We head off into the sunset with a couple $1,000 in our pocket and we call it a year.
Anyone on first goal scorer? I'll read you the odds here. See what you think. Marchie 8-1, Eichel 9-1, Stone 12-1, Smith 15-1, Stevenson 15-1, Carlson 17-1, Barbashev 19-1, Howden 20-1, Roy 22-1, and then on the Florida side, Kachuk plus 950. Barkov plus 1,500, Bennett plus 1,600, Reinhardt plus 1,600. I'm just reading them off here. Anything jump out to you that's worth a shot?
No, I'd still rather just put bets towards guys scoring a goal. I'm not worried about if it's first. Marchessault looks good. Stevenson goal again. Again, to give a shout out to AO. Carlson has stepped up in past closeout games. And he's got pretty nice shot volume as well. So those 3 all look good for Vegas. I'd like to bet Kachuk goal. I'm just worried. I'm just worried about his health. It doesn't sound very promising that he's going to be able to get out there for 20 minutes.
Plus, you could go out there and get banged up and re-injure it, and then your bet's cooked, and then you're in trouble.
Yeah, he's definitely hit the locker room a couple times this series. Sam Bennett is shooting more than anyone else this series, and the guy has not scored since game 1 of round 2. And at some point, the guy has to score. And I'm giving up on him tonight, so that means it's probably tonight. And he's on a line with Kachuk, so I do wonder maybe the burden of some offensive creation falls a little heavier on Bennett's shoulders. So that's probably my favorite on Florida. Guys just so overdue, and it's really silly to compare the Game 5 in Boston when they were down 3-1, but Bennett did have a nice game. He scored there. So maybe he's like, I guess I should do that again. It's just been so long, and he shoots so much. At some point, he's got to score, you would think.
Last one before we go. What's the final score tonight? Who wins? What's the final? What do you got?
Vegas 6-1.
6-1. Wow. 6-1. All right. That makes me confident. Let's close it out. Let's get Marchie holding that trophy, and then we can figure out. We have the date of when you said it. That was the first time he ever came on. So that was look at 36-1. It's minus 600. You just take your chances with it. It's a great ticket no matter what. So hopefully we cash it out. Griffy, good luck tonight. Appreciate it, man. Hopefully this is. I don't know if you'll be back on to talk more hockey if the season ends, but if there is a Game 6, which hopefully there isn't, then we'll talk to you in a few days. But if not, appreciate it, man, and good luck tonight. Thanks for coming on.
Yeah, and, thanks, Will.
Yeah, we'll see you next time. We will be on tomorrow, 1:00 Eastern. Goldboys, Picket Sports, Sleeper Picks. Appreciate you guys. Good luck with all your plays. See ya tomorrow.